So welcome to what's going to be our second video of the day. They're probably not going to come out at the same time, but in probably the worst angle, and yeah, they're going to get. But today I'm breaking down book 2 of The Inner Circle, which is my new urban fantasy series that it will be coming out pretty soon. And I'm doing the plotting process right now, and I'm walking you through it. I have a video out about how to use note cards, or sorry, post-it notes to plot things, and I'm going to show the process right now very quickly. Yes, real quick, this book takes place in New York City. Each book is standalone. Some recurring characters are going to show up, but each one is standalone as a mystery. And what I learned after the first book is I need to really plot these things out really well. I thought for the first book I was going to try something different. I was going to do a lot of discovery writing, and that's not my thing. And it doesn't work very well for murder mysteries. Mysteries in general, you really need to know what the characters are doing, so you can't just have someone does such and such. You really need to know why they're doing such and such, because it's going to be uncovered later. Taking all that in mind, second book, I am plotting things out very differently. And what I've done for the last several days, weeks almost, is I've been looking at everything from the characters. I've been developing the characters, and they're going to help me write the plot. And so I've sat down with each of the characters and I've thought what they look like. These are important things, what kind of magic they can do. They're this but that, which is their contradictions, because they have really good contradictions, the backstories, their psychology, basic things. And I kind of write it out 2 or 3 paragraphs each for the characters, and I have figured out kind of their basic plot. I approach all this from the character perspective, which is something I got from Sean Ryan, who did The Shield, which is a wonderful show, and he learned it from Joss Whedon when he was working on Angel, and it really needs to come from the character's perspective. Plot is great, but only when it pertains to characters. Otherwise, it's just a recitation of events. So that's where we are. I have a basic plot outline of what I'm going to do. Let's see, you can probably see that a little bit right here. It's this right here. I'm a big proponent of, and I have that in a video, of 4-act structure. It's really, they call it 3-act, it's really 4-act. The midpoint of the second act. Setup, things are fun and games, something happens that changes it, things get worse, finale. And that is basically all storytelling, and I'm using it for that. So with a very large outline, and there's a video about this, I think, hopefully, I don't know. Yeah, anyways, with that in mind, I kind of figure out my basic beats. These are the things that need to happen. And as I said before, I've learned that you need to know what the villain is doing first, or else things go very wrong. So I have made a point to do that, and I'm throwing away my tea right now, but so anyways, know what the villain's going to do, and know what the villain's going to do and how the villain reacts to it. So I have outlined their plan, and then how the characters are going to establish or figure it out, and then how it's going to change, and murder mystery. As I said, it all comes down to characters. And what you do when you do the post-it notes is whenever you have an idea, you write it down. And you go, oh, that'll be a cool scene, write it down. Oh, that'll be a big character moment, write it down. Just a note to yourself. Well, I can't tell you what that one is because it'll be the story. But anyways, that's what I've been doing for weeks now. These are just anytime I had an idea. This one is actually going to get thrown away, so I don't need this one anymore because that is a plot point that doesn't exist anymore. And I write things down, and they kind of fit into this story, this model up here. But yeah, party night. This is something that's going to happen pretty early on. Things are going to happen that night, but that's the only note that I have there. Uses magic ID, stuff like that. Cool scene, or just a moment, not even a scene, just a cool moment. You don't even have to write his in, as long as you remember. So I'm color coding these. This is something else I learned while writing shows. Each character in the shows, especially when you have different plot lines, gets another color. And in this case, the colors are the villains right there. This is the B team, which are actually the main characters. They're the B team in it. The A team, which are the adults. That'll make sense if you ever read this thing. And this is emotions, and I never actually wrote those down because they're just kind of this. So this is the B team. These are my main characters. I've been writing them down for a while, and I kind of color coded it. And when it's time to write them more precisely, I sit down with each character, look at their thing. This is what their arc. I also figure out each character's arc, and I write down a thing for each of the major beats in that. and now it is time to put it all together. So in a moment, I'm going to divide my whiteboard into 4 sections, one for setup, first act, first half of the second act, third act, which if things start going wrong, and then the finale, which I have in mind already. So at that point, then it's putting these all together, and I'm using a thing from South Park, 8 Days Till Air, wonderful documentary, 7 Days Till Air, 6 days, anyways, great documentary about South Park, replacing ands with therefores and buts, and that basically means that you learn to connect these story beats. So my next stage is going to take the post-it notes and let's see, as this is a it's going to be in the second half. I know it's going to be in the second half, so I stick it somewhere over here. This one over here is setting up a character moment, so I know that needs to be in the beginning. Ditto with this one right here. This is a plant, and over here is the payoff for it. So I know to put this one in the first act and this one in the second act, at which point then you start chaining them together so that this thing caused this reaction from this character, which is why these characters did this, and then you start lining them up in chronological order, and by doing so, you can see how the story starts to flow, how it starts to work together, and you can see big holes in it, big literal plot holes where you don't have any note cards. So that is what I'm about to start right now, and I don't know if I'll come back for this video, but maybe afterwards, we'll see. So here we are about an hour later, and I'm going to show you my progress real quick. So, like I said, color-coded by type of event. This is the A-team, as it's known. This is the main characters. These are the villains. And so I've been putting it together. Boom, 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 boom. This is probably our setup, Act 1. Yeah, let me see. Nope, I'm sorry. Yep, Act 1. This is when the mystery kind of really starts. This is how they're doing to get it. You can see that I've started to list these things out. This will probably be a chapter. This will probably be a chapter. This is just a note to myself, So again, another chapter, probably a chapter. I'm sorry, this will be a chapter. Anyways, so you can begin to see how it's worked out. Right about here is going to be the midpoint, and over here is the finale. I know everything that's going to happen there. What I am missing, and it doesn't look as much here, is this space right here. And they usually call it the muddle in the middle, which would have been me over here. And I realized there was a lot of stuff missing there. I had a couple of things, but it didn't really fill the area, which is one of the reasons the note cards are very useful, which has made me start looking at these things that needed to happen, emotional beats. I did end up using emotions, what the villain was doing, and how the heroes are trying to catch the villain, and that sort of thing. So this is giving me some new ideas. It's closed some loops. If I have this emotional beat here, I'm gonna have to establish it, so I write down the thing that will cause it to break the beat here. I've got a few more here to just figure something out. I need to close a loop, especially for this part right here. So I walk over here and put the setup for it, so I will know later when I'm doing my outline, my in-depth outline about it. So there you go. It's been an hour. I did come up with some good ideas. I'm going to call it for the night, because don't bash your head against kind of things. I have other stuff I need to do. I'm going to go on a run tomorrow, which is a good time to think about things. And yeah, so this is part 1 of, well, part 2, I guess, since I've been making these cards for a little bit, anytime I have an idea. And now you're seeing how they are being put together in somewhat real time. A lot of heroes doing stuff here in the finale. A lot of actions that are not theirs here, which lets me know that I have a problem here that I need to figure out. How are they going to drive the action, since it looks like they're being driven here. So something to think about. I hope you enjoyed. So here we are several days later, and just trying to close this loop on this one. I had to not go back to the drawing board, but last time I showed you that I had several holes in my second act over here, which made me sit down and think out some things, and came up with a kind of extra subplot that I hadn't considered, which made me then rearrange a lot of this over here, which probably doesn't make any sense, and then also had to move some things in the first act to accommodate the things that we had added here, which were things that because we had done here in the middle of the middle, and then started putting things into, again, the chains. And these chains are, cause, effect, action, reaction, that kind of thing. And all said and done, it looks like it is ready to go. I would probably have started the beat treatment, which is a scene by scene, chapter by chapter kind of thing that I do for myself. Speeds the process for me, even though it takes a little time in the beginning. But of course, if you make a plan, God laughs. And I had a director. Long story short, we have 5 days to come up with a plot for a TV show that reuses the same set for the movie that they are going to film in a little bit that I helped develop for them. So now I'm back to more planning right here, and pitches on the way, and we'll see what we're going to do. So very soon, though, I will start working on this, and hopefully, because we have such a quick turnaround on the other project. And yeah, that is the process. Post-it notes from beginning to this stage. I then really very much want to put this down on paper in my beat treatment, just so I can clear up the space and actually use the whiteboard again. Yeah, but there you are. Post-it notes in process from beginning to end. You've seen it. Congratulations. Hey, please forgive my disheveled state and possibly erratic talking. I don't know. Anyways, this was an interesting moment to do a quick coda to my last video, or part of the video that's part of this video that you're watching. Anyways, the last time I filmed, I was looking at the post-it notes, and I think I mentioned I had like another job that came through. That was, I think, 8 days ago, 7 days ago, and I just sent off the treatment about 30 minutes ago. About it. So, and it was kind of a thing where director I'd worked with was like, hey, we need to reuse the set of this spaceship movie that we wrote earlier that I'm going to film. Like, cool, and then it has evolved since then from just reusing the set to some of the characters and some of the same characters tied into the universe. Again, that was 8 days ago, and basically we had to turn in a treatment with 22 episodes today. Actually, it's going to go in on Monday, but it's Monday their time, and they're in China, and it needs to be translated. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. So we ended up making did it all from the character's perspective, wrote out about 8 to 10 characters, figured out their arcs kind of thing, and then about less than 24 hours ago, I was given the go-ahead to write the plot to this 22 episodes. So again, I broke it into sections, 4 acts, because I love that 4-act. Here's the midpoint. This is episode 11. After episode 11, there's a big change. And broke it out where the last act and the first act are just 4 episodes. They kind of act as a story, as a movie in and of themselves. Broke it out by character beats. This is a VR and a VR world and a real world. And kind of broke out all the beats, wrote them out as characters, and that was at 9, I think, this morning. About 2 this afternoon, I started putting them into order, and done so. Put it off, wrote it all up, sent it in, and I'm telling you all this is kind of a process, and I'm not saying mine is a very good process. The point of this is you find a process that works for you, and you stick to it, and whatever it is that works, do it, and one is able to, when they find their own thing, their flow, to kick out stuff pretty quickly. Is this show going to get picked up? Who knows? Is it going to be anything like what is mapped out today in very broad strokes? Most definitely not. But again, find a process that works for you, and you can do some pretty cool things. Thank you.